Hi ladies, good afternoon. It is Sarah Shipton here from Scrapbooking with Sarah, and I am coming live to you on July 16 for this week's Technique Tuesday class. I'm just going to give it a moment to see if we have got any friends that join us today. And oh, I hope the colour, oh, there's Miss Pauline. Hi, Pauline. How are you? Thanks so much for joining in. Can you just tell me if the brightness on the screen today is okay? For some reason, it looks a little bit dark on my end, but it might just be because I don't have my screen brightness turned up. So if you wouldn't mind, Pauline, just letting me know if you can see this layout okay here that I'm sharing with you all today. And I am absolutely in love with it, if I do say so myself, and I want to share with you it looks okay to you. Okay, excellent. I love that. Thank you so much, Pauline. I really appreciate you taking the time to share that feedback with me. Okay, so when I say to you I am absolutely in love with my layout, I just want to preface it by saying I'm not tooting my own horn. I have to share with you that I look at these photos and they just make me so happy. So a little bit of backstory on these photos, because this is one of the reasons I love to scrapbook, right? I love telling the story. I love documenting the memories and the moments, and I've used the memory sticker here at the top with a little picture perfect. And let me tell you girls, this day was absolutely picture perfect. I bet you can hear the happiness in my voice, right? So as many of you, if you are following me, you will know that last year we took a big 6-week trip to Europe and the UK for my husband's 50th birthday, and we actually spent some time in Paris, and I am a huge Emily in Paris fan, right? And so I found this guy on I found him on Airbnb, funnily enough, or it might have been TripAdvisor. No, I found him on TripAdvisor, and then I actually had to book him on Airbnb, of all places. But basically, there is a tour guide called Fabian, and he does these Emily in Paris walking tours, and so you can join him. This is where I met him, at this beautiful little square. I was going to say piazza, but that's Italian. My French accent is not so great. So I met him at like this meeting place here, like a little square. And he basically takes you on this walking tour around all of the filming locations for the Netflix series Emily in Paris. And so I had watched all of the series and I was so excited. I went on my own. Darren and Jai didn't come with me, and I had the best day. So these photos are actually taken in the grounds of Jardin de Luxembourg, which is the gardens, the Luxembourg gardens which surround the palace in Paris. And so obviously this beautiful building here, this photo here, there's actually a scene in Emily in Paris where she's standing and staring at the statue. So Fabian got us all to recreate that. And it was just such a beautiful day watching the Parisians come out in the afternoon and hang out and read and study, and it was just incredible. Honestly, I had the best day. It was so exciting. And we learned some history, obviously, about the palace and the beautiful gardens. So I'm a bit of a history buff. I love old buildings and architecture. And the palace itself was actually built by the wife of the French King Henry, and he married an Italian woman. And so the fountains that are in the garden were actually moved by, they were in one location and then Napoleon Bonaparte moved them to another location. But the gardens and this sort of water area here, the feature here, had this really beautiful Grecian and Italian appeal to it. So a mixture of all of those, those beautiful cultures, a bit of French, a bit of Italian, and a bit of Greek, and I was just in my element. So when I tell you that I am so in love with my layout, yes, I love the artwork and I'm super happy with how this turned out. It's just beautiful. But I have to tell you, it's the photos and the stories and the memories for me that really make it so special. And that's why You will hear me talk so much about why it's so important to add your story and your journaling here onto your layout. And it's just been a beautiful walk back in time. So my Instagram and my Facebook feed is full at the moment of so many different friends and people I know that are living their best European summer life. And yesterday I spent some time scrapbooking this. So this is as close as I'm getting to a European summer this year. And I just had so much fun looking back at these photos. And then I said to Darren and the kids last night, let's sit down and watch Ratatouille on the Disney Channel. So I had my little French vibe there. So that's the backstory behind these beautiful photos. And I think the important thing here to note is that when you feel really, like happy and just joyful about your photos, it's so easy to make time and spend time creating a beautiful layout to showcase those photos and those memories. So I'm super excited to share this paper collection with you. It's called Secret Garden. It is part of the July and August 2024 product release of the Close to My Heart products, and the digital brochure that was released on July 3rd is the last lot of Close to My Heart products that are going to be released through Stamping Up. So these are products that Stamping Up purchased from Close to My Heart during their closing sale process. And so this particular paper collection, Secret Garden, would have actually been our National Scrapbooking Month promotion, which we would have had in May with Close to My Heart had they remained open. So obviously these products were already designed, manufactured, Stampin' Up bought them. And if you were a Close to My Heart maker, a VIP customer, or an online customer of Close to My Heart with a valid email address, then you get access to this exclusive product. If you were not any one of those three, then please feel free to contact me directly. You can pop a comment below or just send me a message through Messenger, text me, email, however you have my contact details, and I can actually order this exclusive product for you. So when it came time to creating this week's scrapbooking challenge, I actually used mostly leftovers from my Secret Garden Workshop kit. Now, the Secret Garden Workshop kit was quite a large bundle. It retails for $188. And in the past, when we had promotional product with Close to My Heart, there were a variety of different bundles that you could purchase at different price points with and without products, right? So some bundles didn't have the stamp set or the thin cut. Some bundles were for card making, some were for scrapbooking, and they had all sorts of different bundle options. In this case, there is only the option to buy the bundle in its entirety for $188, or you can purchase the individual components of this product individually. You will find them all on my website, scrapbookingwithsarahshipton.stampinup.net. If you go to the Shop Now tab and then in the products category, you're looking for the CTMH products, and it will take you through the 4 pages of Close to My Heart products that we are selling through Stampin' Up. So I did end up buying the workshop kit in its entirety. My intention was to get the individual items, and I am so glad I ended up going. We jokingly call these bundles the big kahunas. So I'm so glad I went with the big kahuna because I got everything in here and I was able to create some beautiful artwork. So this week's challenge is from the Close to My Heart Volume 6 Make It From Your Heart Ideas book. We are working with pattern number 9 this week, which is on pages 22 and 23. This is a single page layout. However, I've converted it to a double page layout. And I'm going to give you a couple of tips for the layout that we've created today. So as you can see here, you've got your base page with your scrapbook layout. And I've chosen 2 sheets of the artichoke cardstock. Now, this is a patterned cardstock, so if you end up buying the workshop kit in its entirety, you're going to get 10 sheets of plain cardstock to use to create your layouts, but you are also going to get a packet of this 2-tone coordinating cardstock, and it's patterned. So you've got a dot pattern on one side and you've got a crisscross pattern on the other side. So you get 12 sheets. 2 sheets of 6 colours in that coordinating 2-tone cardstock pack, and I've chose to use the artichoke colour as my base. You can see here on the back, I've cut out a square behind there to save some of my pattern paper. And you're going to cut, the great thing about this is that I only needed one sheet of pattern paper in one design and another sheet of pattern paper in another design. And then by cutting that pattern paper in half, it meant that I was able to spread the one sheet across the 2 pages. So I had a sheet left over of this beautiful periwinkle blue floral pattern paper. So this came in the pattern paper and sticker sheet pack. You can buy that on its own, or it comes in the bundle. This 2-tone coordinating cardstock pack, you can also get that on your own, or it comes in the bundle. So I had 2 sheets of artichoke left over. I had this floral periwinkle blue left over, and then I had a sheet of this patterned periwinkle blue paper also left over, just one sheet of each. So that was really great timing, because by taking one sheet of each of those pattern paper and cutting it in half, it enabled me to spread it out over a double page spread. Now you will note the next sheet of cardstock here. So you're going to do another 2 sheets of I used plain cardstock. So you'll cut one square at 10 by 10 inches and another square at 9.5 by 9.5 inches. And so I chose to use the French vanilla and also the sage. Now these were not left over. I did have to get 2 sheets of French vanilla and 2 sheets of sage cardstock from my stash in order to create this layout. And then my photo mats, I've actually doubled the amount of photos I've cut. So I've got 6 photos that I've cut in 3 by 4 inches, portrait size, and then I've needed photo mats for those. So you could use just one sheet of paper, but I had some of the honey butter leftover pattern paper in the honey butter, and I had enough to cut 3 photos in the leftover honey butter pattern paper, but I didn't have enough to do all 6. So then I was able to use some of my leftover just plain honey butter cardstock, and that enabled me to cut 3 mats for that. So I've got 3 mats with plain honey butter cardstock, and then 3 mats with the patterned honey butter paper. And I've cut my mats at 4 1/4 by 3 1/4. And I decided to mat the middle photo here. I've just popped that up using my Stampin' Dimensionals. So the Stampin' Dimensionals is the version of the 3D foam tape that I used to sell as a close to my heart maker. I have run out of 3D foam tape, so now I have converted over to the Dimensionals, and I am obsessed with these. You can get them in 2 different sizes. This is the large Dimensional, so I use this size to put one of each of those in the corner of my photos. I use them for my larger embellishments. And then you can also get a packet of the mini Dimensionals, which are great for your really small embellishments. So these are actually 2 separate packs. I've just put them all in the one together to save on storage. So they're both $7.50 each a pack. The larger Dimensionals, you get 3 sheets and 300 of these little Dimensionals, and then again 3 sheets of the mini Dimensionals, and you end up with 720 pieces of those. So I'm using the Dimensionals now as my 3D foam adhesive option. So I've popped these up on some 3D, and then you can see this larger flower, this one here, and over here I've used some of the Dimensionals as well. I just love adding a little bit of lift to some of those embellishments. And when you're overlapping photos, it's quite handy to use the Dimensionals, you know, especially if the photos are, you know, busy. And I had to think about my placement there as well, because I have overlapped slightly over this statue and the water feature here as well. And I've put myself in the middle as the feature, so that just to help that stand out. On the left-hand side of the layout here, you've got room down the bottom for 6 2 by 2 inch square photos. So I know that scrapbookers can find the 2 inch by 2 inch square photo a little bit challenging, but the thing I love about this is you might have a really crappy photo, for want of a better word. In this one here, I had a group of people that I didn't want in the photo, so I was able to actually just cut them out and focus on the gardens and the grounds here. This was a second photo I'd printed by accident, so I've cut that down to get the palace out. And in this instance here, Fabian took a few different photos of me in front of the water feature, in front of the garden, and this one here, I just loved cutting that down. Quite often I'll use the 2x2 inch photos as options to focus on detail around you. So in this instance, it was the detail of the beautiful fencing around the water feature. Like, this was built in, I think it was like, I want to say the 1800s, maybe even earlier. I have to check my Google information for that. And then again, the beautiful floral feature there as well. So sometimes I will just cut those smaller photos down just to focus on something detailed, and it really just helps to give, I guess, the vibe of your photos. On this side here, I did have one landscape photo. So instead of having 6 2x2 inch squares, I've decided to use my 4x6 inch landscape photo. So I think for those of us, if you're using a smartphone, I mean, cameras on smartphones today are just so intuitive and take incredible photos, especially in daylight as well. So a lot of my photos these days are portrait photos because I just point and shoot my phone, right? So I don't have as many landscape photos that I take these days as much as what I did when I had oh my gosh, I've forgotten the name of the camera, like a DSLR camera. So I have very few landscape photos. If cutting your photos down into 2x2 kind of freaks you out a little bit, there are photo collage apps that you can use on your smartphone, and you can create the collage in your app first. So there's apps like Becky Higgins has got an app, Project Life. There's also Pic Collage or just Photo Collage if you search your app store for Photo Collage and find an app that you like. Some of them will have like a watermark or something on there. So I just use the free version. My daughter has the paid version and that takes the watermark off. So you can actually create collages. So I could create a 4x6 inch collage in the app, and then you give your smartphone, you give the app access to your photo camera or your photo gallery. Or your camera roll, and you can drag and drop or upload photos in, and then the app will resize it and it will put the photo into the little 2x2 inch square on your collage, right? And then you save that collage to your camera roll as a 4x6 inch photo. So when you then go to upload your photos, I use the Harvey Norman Photo Center app to print my photos from home. It's so quick, it's so easy. When I go to upload my photos, if I had created this as a collage in a photo app and then saved that photo to my camera roll, all I'm doing is just uploading this one photo, right? And then when I get my photo back, I can cut it down into 2x2 inch squares and, then add that into the photo. So that is another option for you. Sometimes I do that and sometimes I don't. It depends on whether I've got the time or it can be bothered. Sometimes I don't want to spend that time sitting on a screen fussing around with photos. So I just print all my photos. For example, I've got a whole heap of Paris photos here. So sometimes I will just print the majority of my photos in 4x6, and sometimes I print a couple of extra of the same. And then as you can see here, I've got a few different photos of Jai standing in the window of our apartment. So, and then if I've got some that I like better than others, then I use them, and then I keep the others in case I want to cut them down into little 2x2 inch squares. So that's just a little photo, some photo tips there for you to help you with your placement and deciding what size you're going to use. But in this instance, I've used the one landscape photo 4x6 instead of replicating the 6 2x2 inch squares there. So I hope that helps. Now today I'm going to be demonstrating the thin cuts to you, and we're going to talk about how you can create embellishment clusters using the thin cuts. Now I did have some extra stamped images that I'd cut with my thin cuts, so I have actually tucked them in and underneath. But what I've done here is I've started with my larger flowers, and then you can build the smaller flowers and the stamen of the flower into each other. So I'm going to show you that today. So I typically will start with my larger flowers and build upon those, and then I will tuck smaller stamped or thin cut images in and underneath the larger ones, and then that creates a little embellishment cluster there. I've decided to keep the colour scheme similar, so I've used sage and honey butter cardstock for my flowers. And then in the workshop kit you also get a packet of these coordinating dots. Now that has sold out as an item individually on its own, so the only way that you can get the dots is to buy the workshop kit in its entirety, or you can just use some other little bling gems you've got perhaps in your stash. The textured dots with Stampin' Up, which are like a bronze gem, they would look really gorgeous on these papers as well. So I have used some of my Secret Garden dots just to put in the middle of the flowers and then around the flowers there to create that little embellishment cluster. I had some of these leftover stamped images that I'd cut out as well, so I've popped them on my page. One of the things I love to teach my customers at workshops is if you're going to run a stamped image through your die cutting and embossing machine, you may as well fill the base with a whole heap of different size die cuts, and that's how, which is what I've got here. I've got a little pile here of all sorts of different size flowers that I've pre-cut. Some of them I've done them on the original tone of the cardstock, and some of them I've done on the lighter tone. So you can see here that sage leaf is the normal cardstock, and then this one is the other side of the two-tone cardstock, which is lighter. So I'm going to actually show you these die cuts today. I'm going to run them through my Stampin' Cut embossing machine. The only thing I really regret doing, so this is this beautiful little floral embellishment here, and then there are some smaller little flowers that you can cut out and you can stick them over the top of the base of the flower. Now to do that, you're going to need your fine tip glue pen. I'm straight up obsessed with this. So I had finished my original quickie glue pen that I had when I was a maker with close to my heart. The thing I love about this, you don't have to buy a separate component. The lid with the sharp piece actually sits inside here, so you can unblock that. It's not going to block really easily, which I love. And then you're going to use this fine tip glue pen to squeeze a tiny little dot of the flowers, and then you're going to turn them over and stick them down. You might need some tweezers, or take your pick tool, which I'm going to share with you today. I need to clean this because it's got some adhesive on here. It's sticky. You can use that to turn them over and get the glue pen on here. Once I'd stuck them on there, I was like, oh my gosh, it was sage on sage, and I really wish that I'd kept it yellow. I tried to peel them off, but this fine tip glue pen works so well, girls. You are not going to get any repositionable options there at all. Okay, so I kind of wish that I had kept that yellow. But it is what it is, and I just love this glue pen. The thing is you need some really good eyes to get it back in. There we go. I've got that. I've got my glasses on today, girls, so that's helpful. Alrighty, so let's have a little play around with these thin cards while I've got you live. This is one here that I've already created, and I've just put some adhesive on the back of that and stuck that into there, and I could build that flower like so. So that's ready to go for another embellishment cluster if I want to. So I'm just going to grab my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine up here on the table. I'm loving my new machine. I got this at 10% off when they had the sale on last month in June. The year is flying by, right? So I'm just going to pop my base of my machine down. You can see I've got some washi tape stuck here. Now your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine comes with all your embossing plates and the instructions, and your cutting plates as well, of course, sorry. It comes with the instructions on the board, which I absolutely love. This is the third machine I've invested in 11 years, and hands down it is the best and the easiest one I've used. So I'm super excited about that. I've got base 1, I've got plate number 2, so I need this for my die cuts. And then I've got a set of my cutting plates. So over time, Your cutting plates are obviously going to get wear and tear because this is what you are going to cut your die cuts on. And then you create a sandwich with the 2-3 plates by putting your die cuts in between. So I have got some cardstock here left over, so we are just going to demonstrate on that. I've got some scraps here, so I always try to use up my scraps first from my cardstock, and then I've got some bigger bits here as well. So I might cut out a couple of different things here while I've got you on live today. So I've got my base plate and number 2 here. I've got my cutting plate here. Now this will warp over time. I don't know if you can see that in the camera, but it has actually started to bend. That is normal. You can buy, so then obviously I'll start using this other one here. You can actually purchase replacement sets of cutting plates. They come as a 2-pack, and they're literally like, I think off the top of my head, I want to say they were like $17.50. I'm still getting used to all of the prices. So this is the stamp set with coordinating thin cuts that came as part of the Secret Garden scrapbooking workshop kit. This also comes in the card making workshop kit. And then there was a set of thin cuts that came just on their own. You can buy both of these sets separately. You don't have to get the whole workshop kit. I bought the whole workshop kit, so I got both. So it's really whatever works best for you and your budget. So I'm going to use my Sage cardstock here, and I'm just going to grab a couple of different, what have I cut out here already? I've got heaps of these leaves. Can you hear my cat meowing in the background? She wants to go out. So I'm just going to pop a couple of the different leaves over the top. I'm using washi tape over that just to keep that in place before I cut that through. We'll do another leaf one here. So I hope you guys are enjoying all of the weekly challenges that we do. Let's do some pink as well. Let's do some of the flowers because they are so pretty. Let's do this one here, because then I can show you how you can feed one inside the other. So if I'm running my die cutting and embossing machine through, I may as well run some other shapes through at the same time. And then what I end up with is lots of little leftovers. And then that helps me for future creating, because I've got things all ready to go, which I love. So let's do some of these ones as well. And that's what's kind of helped me do these scrapbooking layouts just a little bit quicker each week. Alrighty, so I've got them on top of plate 3, if you can see that there in the camera. And then I'm going to put my other cutting plate, number 3, over the top. And then I'm going to pick that up, and we are going to run that through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. I love this machine. It's so easy to use. I've already demonstrated the embossing folders in it. Let's move this out of the way, because I'm only just going to run that through once. And then what is handy for you, this is why I wanted to demonstrate the Take Your Pick tool. So this little tool has lots of different uses. It comes one end with a putty edge, so you can use this to get loose sequins or embellishments out of baggies. It also comes with another end here. This is a flexible end, and you can use this to pick up your dots off your backing sheet and place them. I like to have them on there, and then I can move it around to place it on my scrapbook layout. But it's also got this other sharp tool here, so I've just twisted that and unlocked it, and then I can turn it around and I can lock that into the other end. So this is super cool. And then it also comes with a stylus piece. So if you've got a scoring mat or plate, you can use your stylus to score your cardstock to make cards. They've got different size. I think this is 1 millimeter, and that's 3 millimeter scoring end. And then you can also buy a die brush where I can unscrew my putty end, and I can screw in this die brush tip. So let's say the thin cut I just ran through had lots of little pieces in there. The take your pick die brush tip comes with this foam mat. I could put my cardstock over the top and I could roll the brush over the top, and that gets out all those really little fiddly pieces. So I did demonstrate another set a couple of weeks ago, the Seaside Wishes. So this die cut here has got lots of fiddly little pieces here, as you can see. Oh, look, there's some stuck in here. Let's get these out and I can demonstrate this to you. How good was that? So I can put my die cut over the top of this, and now I haven't used this yet, so let's hope this works. And then I can use my brush. Oh my God, stop. I can use my brush to push all those little bits and pieces out, and then it ends up with just my, oh, I'm stabbing myself with the sharp end. It ends up with just my little seashell piece here. Is that not the best, girls? Oh my gosh, I actually hadn't played with that yet. How funny was that? I had them sitting in here. And then I can just take that off and get my little rubbish bin here and go tappy tappy, or I might need to scrape that off. I haven't used it yet. I've got long nails. Let's use those. So how fun is that? I love that. So that's just easier than what I'm going to do, because what I've done in the past is got my little pokey bit and just pushed all those excess pieces off. Because it die cuts so well, the original piece stays sat in here and you need to kind of like scoop it out. So that's fun. This is, you can buy that and two of those mats on their own. But what I'm going to show you, which is why I swapped these end bits over, was I've got my die cut here. You want to just make sure that you're taking your washi tape off carefully on the cardstock, girls. Especially I found, this is close to my heart branded cardstock that I've used, because these colours coordinate with the Secret Garden Workshop. The Stampin' Up! Cardstock is thicker and it's not two-toned. So I have found that when I've taken the washi tape off of the cardstock, the Stampin' Up! Cardstock, you need to be really careful with it, because it has actually caught onto the cardstock. So can you see here how my leaf is actually sitting inside the die? There's holes inside on the other side of the die, and I can use my pokey end here to get the die cut out. And you want to be careful when you're taking it out. You don't want to tear it, especially with like really intricate pieces. So there I've got my leaf, and I've got another leaf here. So sometimes you can poke this out and it just falls. So here we go. This one's coming really easily. And then once I've finished cutting them, I'm just going to put them, sorry, not cutting them. Once I've finished taking them out, I'm just going to put my thin cut back onto its carrier sheet. Now, this will look different to some of you, because Close to My Heart used to sell their die cuts, thin cuts, and they would put them on. They come packaged with a magnetic sheet over that you can sit your thin cuts on, whereas as you just saw there, the Stampin' Up! Have theirs on a white sheet with adhesive. So I've just sat this inside the set of the coordinating stamp set, just so I can keep that all together. So I do miss my magnetic sheets, I'm not going to lie. I do miss those magnetic sheets with the die cuts on them. Oh, that one's already come out, so I can pop that back on here. And then I've got these little flowers here. Yes, Penny, I know you want to go outside, but you're going to have to wait until Mum's finished. I'm sure you can hear her because she's literally almost underneath my feet. So I'm just going to punch these out here. Alrighty, so I'll pop these two over to the side. And these are just some of the little pieces that I've cut out now. And to give you an example of this little yellow one actually pops inside here. So it's almost like a builder thin cut, which I love. And then I've got a bigger flower here that I've already cut out. So I could stick that over the top like so. What other bits and pieces have I got here already cut down? So as you can see, when I run my cardstock through, I run a couple of different ones through at the same time. with the colours. And then if I've got any left over, I just pop them in the back of my set. I wonder if I've got any in this one here. This is the one with the stamps. Oh no, because I've got them all out on the table to show you. This is the one with the stamp set and the coordinating die. So you stamp your image first, and then you put your coordinating die over the top and run it through your die cutting machine. Whereas this set I have just demonstrated to you now was only a thin cut set. There was no coordinating stamp set to go with that as such, okay? So then you end up with all those little bits and pieces, and then that's helped me to just play around with. Let me bring this layout back up. That's then obviously helped me to play around with creating an embellishment cluster. I had quite a bit of room in the corner there, whereas on the original page, I didn't have as much room down the bottom here. I've got my journaling here, right? So I've just done a little embellishment cluster here with a stamped and cut image, a little yellow flower there. I've built a flower cluster here, tucked a little one down underneath here just to make that title border at the top. And then on this side here, we've done just a smaller cluster in the corner, 2 different flowers. I've popped one flower up on top with 3D foam tape, some little leaves underneath. So by having all these extra pieces cut out, when it comes time to do my embellishing, I'll just pick a leaf up and I'll pop it underneath and see what that looks like. I could have popped one there. So by popping those, see, I could have even put another one under there like so. So having those extra pieces all cut out for you, it just means that when it comes time to doing your embellishments, you've got some different options there to play around with. And in fact, I'm going to give you guys a sneak peek on next week's challenge. I am creating this ahead of time because I'm going to be in Brisbane from tomorrow until Sunday at our Stampin' Up event. And so as you can see here, I'm getting ready for next week's layout. I've used, again, leftovers from my Secret Garden paper collection. And I had these extra leaves and flowers already cut out. And I have used this to create my title that's actually running down the left-hand side of my page. So this is what I'm going to be sharing with you girls next week. I hope that has helped. I hope you have enjoyed learning these. I will post this video to our Facebook group, and then in the comments I will drop some links to the products that I've shared with you ladies today. I can't wait to see the layouts that you've created, and I hope that has inspired you today to do some paper crafting in this miserable weather. Perfect weather for it. Hi Chris, hi Christine, thanks so much for joining us here. I can see you guys have popped on at some stage today. Now I've put my head up to see what's happening here. So I will also upload our video to our YouTube channel, Scrapbooking with Sarah Shipton, so you can replay this at any time you like. Have a great week everyone, and thank you so much for watching.